Hey all, this is Sin Elias with Crescent City Conjure, and today I wanted to talk about spiritual traditions. I spend a lot of time talking about folk magic and talking about magic that was passed down through the generations orally, so we're talking about hoodoo. But what about all of the other traditions that people want to initiate into, such as voodoo and palomoyombe, and even European witchcraft, and all of these different traditions that span not just in Africa, but across the world, things that you need to have an initiation, undergo a certain type of rebirth through initiation. What about those traditions? Because I am initiated into a tradition, so I wanted to talk about what that means. The first thing that comes to mind when talking about traditions is the language that's involved in communicating what a tradition is and what it means to people. You often hear, or I often hear, I'm thinking about getting into this tradition, I'm thinking about getting into that tradition. And what comes to mind is I didn't, in the beginning of my journey, my spiritual journey, even spiritual journey, that word is a very umbrella term. What does that even mean? But at the beginning of my spiritual journey, a tradition didn't come to me. I didn't really seek a tradition as much as I wanted to better understand what was already in me. And that's something that I really want to pass on to anyone who watches this video. The traditions aren't really about what you want to be in as much as you want what you want inside of you. Traditions change who you are as an individual. They change how you view the world around you. They change, and I want to say where your loyalties lie, but they change where your spirit feels a gravitational pull towards based on the spirits that are involved in that tradition. They change the trajectory of your life, and hopefully in positive ways if it's the right tradition for you. In talking to people, what I always suggest when they're thinking about what tradition they want to be in is to sit down by themselves, spend some time in meditation, spend some time in prayer with their ancestors, spend some time talking to their elders, spend some time speaking to people who are already in that community, and really try to feel the spirit of that tradition, not just the logistics of it. Like, unfortunately in this world, people go for traditions because of some type of status, because it's another feather in their hat, and not because their spirits are really on fire for the deities that exist in that tradition. And that's what it should be about, in my opinion, that each tradition holds and houses a hierarchy of deities, and those deities should be speaking to an aspect of yourself. And there should be some type of reciprocity, there should be some type of magnetic pull. And I was speaking to someone else who is a respected elder in a tradition about traditions as a whole. And something that he said stuck out to me. He said, it's not about I'm attracted to the tradition. It's not about I relate to this tradition. It's not about any of that. It's not about any of these new age terms that people use to describe to traditions. It's not some symbolic message that you found in the sky and now you want to be a part of this tradition. For me, it was the best way I could describe it is a fire that I had two choices in how I wanted to deal with that fire. Either I wanted it to allow it to consume me, or I wanted to figure out what intelligence, what divinity was expressing itself through that fire. And in understanding how that divinity expressed itself through me, I could better understand myself. So for me, traditions are about a personal journey of the self, further evolution, further growth as a human being, further growth as a practitioner of magic. And when I say magic, I mean that as a broad term, not just magic as in spell casting, but how the divine spirit, the spark of all life, expresses itself through each and every one of us, and how that gives us the authority to create change in our own lives. So when it comes to any tradition, even if it's a non-initiatory tradition like hoodoo for the most part, which in my experience, I've never seen an initiation into a hoodoo house, but I'm not a part of all hoodoo houses, so I don't know about all hoodoo houses. So perhaps there is an initiation for you. But when it comes to initiation, it really is a conversation that you have with yourself and your spirits before you have with any human being. And another thing that I want to say is that any human being, no matter how elevated they are in their tradition, is only a facilitator of spirit. And in fact, the further along they are in their tradition, the more of a facilitator for spirit they are. So if you can cultivate the ability to have a direct communication with spirit, you can see past some of the human BS, unfortunately, the human ego that impresses itself onto traditions. No matter what tradition you're thinking about going in, I suggest that you know yourself first. You know your real heart before you seek others to validate that knowledge, that wisdom, that journey that you've been on. And I do want to make it clear that a portion of seeking initiation and following through with initiation is validation. And I don't think that that's wrong. I don't think validation is wrong as long as it resonates with you, and it's going to help you be a stronger, more capable individual, a more devoted individual, a stronger person filled with the assistance of your heritage, your lineage, the knowledge of your tradition, things like that. These pursuits should come from a place of devotion, not a place of ego. And too often, you see them coming from a place of ego and not from a place of devotion. So if you're new to this, listen closely and take your time. No rush. There's no rush to be a part of a tradition. There's no rush to commit yourself to a house or to any way of practicing. Allow your spirit to speak for itself. Allow your ancestors to speak for themselves. Until next time, guys, this is Sin Elias with Crescent City Conjure, and I hope to see you at our location, 2402 Royal Street, or you can visit our website, crescentcityconjure.us. Have a blessed day.